Hi, everybody. It's Diana Zenny here with my sweet, amazing, brilliant friend, Jenna Lee Rude. Thank you so much for joining us, Jenna. So
Yay, I'm so
nice to
happy
have.
to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So for those of you who haven't been here before, I'm Diana. I have this lovely business called Think Crunchy. And as most of you know, I'm on a mission to help to educate and empower our Charlotte area moms, connecting all of our community with our practitioners, with our business owners, and just really trying to make sure that we have amazing resources available to all of the families who want to raise their children and really thrive in this amazing city. And so Jenna is joining us tonight. Jenna is an inspiration for me, for my family. We just love everything that you put out there. You have amazing energy, first of all. But then, second of all, we just love you and we refer to you as the plant lady because Jenna is so brilliant at finding ways to help incorporate more plants into your life and into your meals and just in every aspect. She does it very creatively and very effectively with her family. So I'm excited to have you here. I can't wait to hear what you're going to share. So if you would just introduce yourself to our community.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I'm dying laughing because I am definitely I will stand by the plant lady thing. I mean, I've definitely been my mom actually has been known as the crazy plant lady for her career. So I'm glad that I haven't gotten the crazy name associated with myself yet, but I'm getting there for sure as I get older and more passionate about this. But thank you so much for having me. I'm obviously a huge fan of our Think Country community. I'm so proud to be a part of that with my husband, Jake, and multiple businesses of ours that are a part of the amazing network. And I honestly can say I've met some of my favorite people in the whole world through this network. And there's something so special about when you connect with somebody who shares common interests and who also understands the hustle and the grind of being an entrepreneur and a business owner. And there's so many commonalities there that really have been beautiful relationships to see flourish and collaborations and all kinds of things. So I'm so grateful for you, Diana, and for having me on tonight. I know that lots of you are going to be catching this recording. We actually are laughing because we scheduled this on the night where there was a tornado in Charlotte. So if that tells you anything about how up in the air the new year can be, I'm going to talk through that tonight with everybody. I think we're starting out pretty strong here in Charlotte with not knowing what to expect. So I'm going to jump right into this. This is one of my favorite topics. And oh, you know what, Diana, could you help me share the screen? That would be
Oh,
great.
yeah.
And I forgot to do that. One of my favorite topics because we're talking tonight about the new year, of course, since we're in January 2024, but really establishing habits. This is the time of year where I feel like we really just can't rely on the things that we're seeing just be, pummel us on social media, on ads, that sort of thing. Um, can I share screen now, I think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me try. Yay, now it's letting me.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I'll get this going. Yeah, so we get bombarded by things. I mean, you guys probably know, if you're watching this, that it can get pretty crazy. Make sure I can see what's happening here. All right. Can you guys see that okay?
That's
Great.
good.
Perfect. So I titled this one New Year, New Habits instead of anything to do with dieting or diet culture. We really obviously love to stay away from that and really think through how can we create an optimal lifestyle for ourselves and our family. And we serve lots of families here in the Think Crunchy community. And you probably know a lot of people in your life that can be helped by this information tonight. So even if you're sitting here watching this, taking notes, think about other people other than just yourself. That's always my call to action whenever I am a keynote speaker or an educator in some room or on Zoom. I love to encourage us to think bigger because there's somebody out there that needs this vital education, that needs these resources, that needs support, and we can provide that by being a bridge for them. So my background is in so many things. I actually am a professional dancer and choreographer. That's what actually brought me out to UCLA and Los Angeles for a whole decade after I graduated high school. I became a holistic health coach as well during that season of my life and launched our Health Made Simple platform on the West Coast, which I'm going to tell you a little bit more about. And I did that with my husband, Jake. We met when we were 18. So this is my family. My husband, Jake, is wonderful and does tech consulting for small businesses and helps people with pretty much anything that stresses them out in regards to tech or marketing or texting or email or anything, including
Shout out to
myself.
Jake because he does a lot of stuff for me too, and he's amazing.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. We joke. It's like there's so many people who are like, Jake, help me with this. And he just answers the calls, and helps you with whatever you need. So, he's fantastic. And our two, daughters, Leah and Remy. Leah's 5 years old. Remy is 2. And I'm just so grateful, of course, to be back here in Charlotte. I did live in LA, as I said, for 10 years. I'll go back to this slide. But I really realized, after being there for a decade, that I felt really passionate about bringing the things that I was learning, from what I consider the health and wellness capital of the world, even though it does not promote a healthy lifestyle necessarily, being in Los Angeles for so many reasons. But there is a lot of concepts, a lot of modalities, a lot of, services start there. And we're a little bit behind here in Charlotte. So I love that Diana, as well as our Think Crunchy partners, really have been bringing a lot of these things to the Charlotte community and to the community that is craving a crunchier lifestyle, a more holistic or natural lifestyle. And so we moved back, and I was so excited to serve the people here, but also online, of course. So my husband and I also founded the Raised on Plants app, which really became a passion of ours after we had children. Of course, our Health Made Simple platform is still how we help and serve thousands of people around the world. This is something my mom founded when I was even before I was born, actually. I mean, she's dedicated 40 years of her career to this education platform. And we serve people through Health Made Simple with education classes, shopping list, recipe books, healthy lifestyle workshops, of course, all kinds of events, and partnering with businesses, with networking groups like Think Crunchy, with all kinds of other wonderful people to serve the community in whatever way we can in regards to helping them living a healthier lifestyle. But we saw that there was a gap in education for families who wanted their kids to be raised on a more plant-forward diet, a more plant-powered lifestyle. Does not mean that every single family that we serve is plant-based. My own story is that I was raised predominantly plant-based, and knew the power of food, the power of lots of different fruits and vegetables in my diet my whole life. But we were not perfect by any means. I'll tell you more about my story as we get along here tonight. However, when I was about to get pregnant with Leah and my first daughter, when we knew we were going to start trying in a couple months, I really dug deeper, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go full plant-based. So technically I've been vegan for 7 years now. 2 full-blown vegan pregnancies, 100% plant-based, whole food plant-based as much as possible. Again, not perfect, not against things out of packages and things, because hello, mom life is absolute chaos. But I have tried very, very hard to fuel my body with as many whole plant foods as possible. And now we raise our girls that way. So everything that we share within this app is 100% plant-based, but it doesn't mean that you can't add on other things or, meet people. We meet people where they are all the time. For example, my husband used to eat 15 corn dogs a week. So part of what is in our app is his story of how he overcame his obsession with corn dogs and his very inflamed body, and was able to heal himself through the power of food. And we have courses in here from amazing experts that are way smarter than I am, that I have asked to share their expertise. My mom, as you can see right there, has a course on why plants. We're going to cover a little bit of that tonight, but that would be a good deep dive. All of these expert courses are available as free courses on our apps. You can download Raised on Plants in any app store and access these. Our wonderful pediatrician, who's a functional pediatrician, Dr. Diana Robertson, did a course on gut health for kids. In there, I've got my friend Ashley, who's a plant-based dietitian, who's myth busting things like if my family's eating more plants, will we get enough protein? Will we, can we eat soy safely, or will it give my husband man boobs? Like the questions that we see circulating still, even though they've been disproven many times, but educating people on that and actually coming from a dietitian, since I am not a dietitian or a physician myself, always very clear about that. I'm the bridge that is bringing families, bringing busy moms education and information in little bite sizes that they can handle, but making sure that that information comes from the best possible source I can find. We even have our friend Caitlin, who's a nurse, doing a course in here on choking safety, which I think is really important when you're talking about a topic of feeding your family. That's imperative that we keep our kids safe, we keep our families safe. And then so many more. We have an all access membership option that all of you for listening tonight are going to get 30% off discount for, that you can share with someone in your life if it's something that you don't see yourself using. But we love our community of families so much. And that really opens up the entire app, where you have access to what's inside our fridge, what do we buy at Trader Joe's, how the heck do we feed these children snacks all day long? How do we put together simple, quick meals in 10 minutes or less, right? We have over 150 recipes on here that are in every single category and don't have any pop-up ads. Yay. That was my biggest thing. I was like, I am making something where I don't have to get pummeled by pop-up ads as I'm trying to find just how many chia seeds to put in this energy bite ball recipe. And so I love that we're able to offer a really stress-free way to cook in your kitchen and to simplify piecing meals together for your family. And then we do have a connection platform within the app where you can connect with other moms in your stage of life. We have actually lots of people who use the app who aren't moms either. So if you're not in that season of life, or you're a grandmother, or maybe want to be a parent one day, or just a busy professional, all of this education still applies in so many ways. So I'm sure you'll still find wonderful things to enjoy. And then the last thing is a tracking section. So there's a way you can actually track, how many plants are we eating every single day or every single week? And how are you doing? I'm really big on self-care for moms. How can we check in with you and make sure that you're doing okay? So I'm very excited about what we've created here. And if you text New Year with a space in between to, this is my business number. It's not a robot. It's actually it comes right to my phone. It's 704-579-6429. That will get you plugged into all of the resources that I'm about to share with you. And I like to do this first because I want to make sure that as I'm going, you're not like frantically trying to write down every single thing I'm saying. I have it all for you. I can send you whatever you need. Just for taking the time to listen and learn today. You are my VIP, and I'm going to take good care of you. Make sure that you have what you need. Okay. So texting New Year to this number will help you plug into all of that. It'll also get you the discount code I mentioned that you can then share with whoever you would like, or use yourself at any point if you want to upgrade to our all access membership. We also do live cooking classes each month. We do virtual meetups for parents, just to connect. And then I do once a month an actual small group coaching session on lifestyle coaching to really just help you work through challenges. So it's a wonderful way to, kind of get into some of that without hiring a full-blown practitioner if you're not sure that you're ready for that yet. And then I have connections to amazing networks like Think Crunchy specifically, where I will help you find the right person, especially if I'm not the one that can help you with certain things, which I know my limitations, and I will make sure we find you the appropriate person that can rock it out with you, whether you need to talk to an occupational therapist or a chiropractor or someone else who specializes in exactly what your family is going through. All right. I had to put this in because my brother and my sister-in-law were in Mean Girls Broadway, Mean Girls on Broadway for years. So we still love a good Mean Girls quote. And I know this time of year you're getting just, bombarded by things, and you will be this entire month. So I just want to have you take a deep breath and know that anything you're doing, even if it's just taking it one breath at a time, during a day is a good thing. And giving yourself grace is the first step in making anything positive happen in your life. So even though I'm going to give you a ton of ideas today, I still want you to go back to that and know that even if you just take one or two things away from today, you're going to be winning the game and you're going to be in a better place. But trying to just reinvent your entire body and your entire household and your entire lifestyle in one day or 1 month even is crazy. I think we can all agree on that. So
Well, absolutely. And especially coming off of December, right? It's like such a
yes.
busy, intense month of holidays and parties and New Year's and all of that. And then,
Mhm.
yeah, then it's
Exactly.
midnight and now you're supposed to be
Yeah,
perfect.
it's like all of a sudden it hits January 1st and we're supposed to be this like perfect version of ourselves. So that's not what we're going for, but we are going for accountability, we're going for consistency, we're going for habits over resolutions. We're going for positivity and abundance. That's really what I want for all of you in the new year. And getting out of survival mode. We've been really big in our Health Made Simple community recently on hosting events that are about teaching you how to thrive. So a lot of us in our world right now, I mean, I feel this myself because again, I have amazing days. And I also have face down on the floor moments, just like I know all of us do.
Mhm.
Um, but we want the majority of your moments to be thrive moments. And it's hard. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of things going on. So part of that is, like I said before, choosing habits, choosing daily habits that you can work on over time that eventually become something you don't have to think about. So we're going to really focus in on that today. We're also going to talk about choosing appropriate products or programs to follow that actually speak to a long-term health creation strategy, not a short-term fix or a band-aid approach or something that's going to be just surface level. We want to dig deeper and figure out what is the root of this problem, of this diagnosis, of this thing that we've got going on, and how do we start to solve that at the foundational level so that we can get rid of it for good. Right. The hype and the trends and the diet things and the short-term fixes and this magic pill off Amazon, like none of that is going to serve us in the long term. We have to get down to the real things. And I know a lot of you on here, if you're listening to this, you're probably a truth seeker like I am. And we want to find the truth. We've always wanted to do that as a family. Like, what is actually going to work? Let's stop messing around and stop wasting money, stop wasting resources. Let's figure out what's actually going to serve you. So we're going to tell you tonight what we believe that can be. And then the third thing, of course, is choosing grace and joy. And I think there's so much to be said for your mental health. I have some strategies for you tonight on focusing in on that mental health component as we enter in a new year. And that's really important as well. So we know now, not just me saying this, thousands of research studies, thousands of health professionals, thousands of just anyone you talk to, I think within kind of this wellness space is going to tell you that food is the number one determinant of health and disease during your lifetime. And it's because we have to eat all day. And
Yes.
that's a huge part of our physiology. I mean, yes, there's so many other components. We can't ignore our water, the toxins in our household, the things we're putting on our body, our surroundings, our relationships, our faith, our, all of those things are so important. But food really can make or break your story. And that's why we get excited though, because we know that we can make some really positive changes if we focus on food. So that's what this is going to be tonight. A lot of this focus tonight is going to be on food, even though I'm going to give you some other ideas. And the diversity of plants in your gut is directly related to your quality of life and how long you will live. There's a number of books out now that are really diving into gut health way more than we've ever talked about. I don't think anyone ever wanted to talk about their gut as much as we thought we would be doing right now.
Yep.
But we're seeing that when they're looking at, what's the number one predictor of how long you will live and your quality of life, which is to me more important than how long you will live,
Absolutely.
your
Yeah.
quality of life, right? It's how many different varieties of fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, and beans can you put in your body um, consistently? Not just, I'm going to do this the first week of January and then I forget about it till next January, right? Or I'm going to be really good on Mondays and I'm going to eat my big plant power bowl and do my smoothie and do all these things. And then by Friday, you're eating 15 corn dogs a week like Jake used to. So that doesn't serve us either. It's that consistency. And we're going to talk a lot about that tonight too. So why is this not working? If we know this, right? Why are we still so unhealthy? And I think that's a question we can all ask ourselves. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and read you statistics because we don't need these to know what's happening in our world. We're seeing, more children's hospitals than we've ever seen in our life. We're seeing people suffering from things that weren't even diseases before. They didn't even have a name for them. And now we have so many different names for things that didn't exist for our grandparents when they were younger, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing that our children are more harmed by poor diet than by exposure to drugs, alcohol, and tobacco combined. Yet we're
Yeah.
not educating in the school systems about this. We're talking about drugs, alcohol, and tobacco, but we're not talking about food. And in fact, the food quality in our schools is horrendous in most cases. And so we're seeing a lot of issues going on right with this. We also can't ignore the fact that our environmental toxins are increasing dramatically. And whether you're looking at pollution or pesticides or chemicals or prescription medications, products, right? The quality of products that you're putting on your skin, things
Mhm.
you're inhaling, candles and all the things, hairspray. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Even what we're drinking out of, right, is causing extra stress on our body and adding to this epidemic in our world. With that, food quality is also decreasing, right? So it's no surprise. I mean, we could even kind of think through like how things taste, right? I mean, I know I've traveled to Italy almost I traveled to Italy every summer for a decade in my 20s. Well, starting in my teens actually through my 20s, and I did not like tomatoes until I went to Italy and I tasted a real tomato. And I was like, this is what they're supposed to taste like. This is not what they taste like in our country,
Yeah.
unless, of course, they're homegrown, picked at the peak of ripeness, right off your garden. And the condition is there, right? The quality of the soil or the nutrients, whatever way you're, gardening, is there. We know that more
Mhm.
than 50% of what Americans eat is processed. Apples, I just heard this the other day, have a 14-month on average shelf life. That's in our country. 14 months. Let me just let that sink in for a second. And that's allowed. um, we know that any produce, this quote here talking about broccoli, but produce loses its nutrients as soon as you pick it. And it's wrapped in plastic and then sent off to us, right? So this slide, we're really wanting to look at how can we shop more local? How can we support farmers? How can we really get back to the basics and avoid as much of this as possible? Of course, looking for the highest quality food and taking back control of your food supply. I'm sure many of you on here have a garden or at
Mhm.
least know of a local farmer's market near you, because I know I'm preaching to the choir with a lot of these topics tonight. But let's really do a better job of helping other people find that lifestyle as we move into this year, because I know that alone can make a huge difference. I mean, on this same topic, my grandmother would have to eat, well, let's say she ate one peach. I would have to eat 7 peaches to get the same amount of nutrients as her today. And you could look at this for every single type of produce. It's wild. We're having to eat so much more produce to get the same amount of nutrition. And this is taking a toll on us. Look at this chart right here. This is something that we show in almost every workshop we do because I think it's so powerful. If you look at the graph, the red is the percentage of deaths from heart disease and cancer. The green is the percentage of calories from unrefined plant foods. And this graph specifically is looking at heart disease and cancer. So we see that, in let's see, Thailand and Laos, like we're seeing that they're eating the most plants and they surprisingly have the least amount of disease, heart disease and cancer. We look over there at the USA or Hungary, we're eating the least amount of plants and we have skyrocketing numbers of heart disease and cancer. And it's inversely proportional. And we have looked at graphs like this for not just heart disease and cancer, but for Alzheimer's, dementia, autoimmune, digestive issues, like anything across the board. And it's showing this inversely proportional relationship. We're seeing that the more plants you eat, it's not just targeting a specific problem, it's actually covering everything. And a lot of people are saying this is stemming back to inflammation. That my mom just attended a conference recently, and a lot of the presenters there who have dedicated their entire careers to researching this are saying, we're really seeing that there's no such thing as different diseases. Yes, they have different names, but it's really just inflammation manifesting in different forms. And so if we can get down to that root cause, and solve it by flooding our body with more plants, more things that reduce inflammatory markers in the body, then we can really solve a lot of our problems in this world. So we do focus on fruits and vegetables because we get pretty pumped up about a lot of these things. And I know that was fast and furious, but I will give you some continuing education opportunities to keep learning more about why, because the why is really important before you move into the what. I like to focus on the what because that's the fun stuff to me, I think, is actually how do we implement this? But the why is so important. Up to 75% of diseases are preventable. And some researchers say up to 90% are preventable with good nutrition. We know you can actually turn on good genes in your body and turn off the bad ones through epigenetics now. So it's no longer, we can't use the excuse anymore. This just runs in my family. We have to take control and take ownership over that. The decisions we're making affect not only our body, but generations of our family to come. It's a legacy of health that we want to leave. And what you're eating now can actually have an effect on your grandchildren and your great grandchildren one day. It can skip generations even. So we have a lot of power there, and it's really important. I love this quote. I heard our pediatrician say this when she was lecturing for us one day. Dr. Diana, she said, there's no medicine I can give patients that does what food does in the body. And to hear a pediatrician say that was music to my ears because I think a lot of people have been so frustrated that there's a disconnect, right, between modern medicine and this concept of functional food and food as medicine. My dad is a physician. My mom has worked in prevention her whole life. So we have that in our own family. And my dad has learned so much from my mom. My mom has learned so much from my dad about how this can be a bridge. There can be a positive balance. And a lot of practitioners are proving that now, many of which are in our Think Crunchy network, which is so cool. So focusing on that food element can make a huge difference. And if your pediatrician or a practitioner in your life is telling you that food doesn't matter, my best advice to you is to get a new practitioner. Find someone who understands this because it's not going to serve you. And unless you have a very specific thing that you're dealing with that you have to use that certain practitioner for, there's so many options now of people that do get it, right? That have studied this, that have moved in this direction. It's worth it. It's worth every penny to find somebody that understands it. It's life-saving in most cases. And even if you can't, you can combine it, right? You can find somebody who can support you while you're also being treated with this other practitioner that might not be as familiar with this lifestyle. So I'm very passionate about this, of course, as you can tell. And because I've seen it help so many people. Oxidative stress is a big topic that my mom covers a lot because her background is in actually oxidative stress. Literally, she's an exercise physiologist, has her master's from UNC Chapel Hill, ran the wellness center there for years and was a professor there. And her research was on this very topic where we all have to breathe oxygen, right? Clearly, that's how we stay alive as human beings. But the same oxygen that we breathe causes damage in our body. And it's called oxidative stress. It's actually free radical damage. We have a puppet called Freddie the Free Radical that we use when we go into schools and teach kids about this, all these concepts you guys are learning tonight. And we say Freddie the Free Radical runs around your body and he takes bites out of your healthy cells. And that causes damage to your body. And that could be to your skin, that could be wrinkling and aging, that could be to your immune system, it could be to your digestive system, it could be to your heart health, your brain health, your muscles, like any part of your body can be affected by this. And the only way to stop Freddie in his tracks before he causes damage to your cells is to fight him off with the superheroes that are called antioxidants. So when we teach kids this, we give them plates and they make fruit and veggie plates and they're superheroes and they fight off Freddie the Free Radical with their
Oh, how
shield,
cute.
and it's like so adorable. But we know that if we flood our body with antioxidants, the antioxidants actually have an extra electron that they donate to the free radical, which neutralizes it before it causes damage. So when you understand how this works, you understand how powerful it is to have a constant flow of antioxidants in your body. And what are antioxidants? Okay, I will always ask, when I ask the kids this, in Charlotte, I usually get the response like, I think it's a blueberry or something like that, which is correct, right? When I ask this in LA, the kids are like, kale, bok choy, blah, like say all these different plants. It's anything from a fruit or vegetable or a nut or a seed or a grain or a bean. Okay, anything that was grown in this earth, right? That was grown from the earth is going to have antioxidants in it. The only reason why animal food would have it in it is if there was a little bit of it left over from the cow eating some grass, but it's not near as much. I mean, it's minuscule compared to, taking a bite out of an apple or actually eating some leafy greens yourself, or even lemon juice. You see the picture. If you squeeze lemon juice on an apple, it keeps the apple from oxidizing or turning brown. Same thing is happening in our body. It's really important that you understand this, because I think you understand nutrition at the core level if you understand this very topic, and gut health. Okay, so now that we understand the power of antioxidants, how can we transition to actually what's happening when we consume that food in our gut, and how that relates to all of this. I will go back and say real fast on this one, because I know we've got a lot of mama bears in our community. You have surges of oxidative stress when you are stressed out. Hello, mom life. I don't know why there's balloons happening, but there's apparently balloons on my side. I need to get
That's
Jake to
funny.
turn this off on my end. I talk with my hands a lot, so I think I'm motioning to Zoom here. Moms, we're stressed out a lot of the times. And then when you're pregnant, you have surges of free radical damage happening in your body as well. And if you're an athlete or just working out in general, you're breathing more oxygen. So you
Yeah.
need more antioxidants, right? They even have studies showing that pilots have way more oxidative stress than regular people because they're closer to the radiation from the sun on a regular basis, pilots and airline attendants. And x-rays and other things can cause that too. So we want to make sure that we're minimizing that, but also fighting it. Now with our gut health, you guys, we're only 10% human, which freaks me out because I hate bugs. 90% of our cells are not human cells. They're microbial cells or gut bugs, gut microbes. Okay. So since our diet influences our microbes, literally we are what we eat. We become what we eat. And whatever name or diet or association you want to have with how you eat, your microbiome eats vegan. Your microbiome is plant-based. It only wants fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, and beans, and the fiber that comes along with that. It uses that fiber, that prebiotic fiber, to actually feed the probiotics, which are those microbes that live in and on you, right? And when they're happy, they create postbiotics, which are your body's natural medicine cabinet. So you can see how if you're lacking this variety of plants, you're not eating enough plants, you're not giving your body the tools it needs to be able to function and fight off things that come your way naturally. And this can really take a toll over time. Um, Also, what's so crazy is that when you don't feed your gut what it wants, it will start eating through you. It will start eating you. It'll consume the lining of your gut, which is a protective lining, and eventually cause something that a lot of us have heard of, leaky gut syndrome, or other digestive issues, other things that can be detrimental to your life because they're starving and they're going to eat something. So giving them this healthy plant fiber is imperative, and it has to come from a wide variety of plant foods. What's super cool is that you can completely change your microbiome in about 2 weeks. And there's numbers of studies on this. I get really excited about this because I like things to happen quickly. And
Mm.
if you're impatient and you're like, I need to see change now, this is the number one way you could really make a huge impact is if you start giving your body that diversity of plants. We know that in just 2 weeks, we can see huge improvement. And that higher fiber intake is important, is so much more important than any macros or anything anything that you're tracking. Fiber is what we're really missing when it comes to gut health. And we know our gut affects every aspect of our physiology, specifically our brain, right? There's an axis that directly talks to your brain. So when we talk about being healthy mentally and being able to make good decisions and crave healthier foods, the more plant fiber you have in your gut, the more you're going to want to eat more of it. So it's this cycle that really, really starts to work for you once you get it started. But it can also work the other way, right? If you've ever gone on vacation and you've not eaten what you normally eat for a while and you come back feeling horrible, it's because you've turned your entire body into a pina colada and fried chicken tenders over the course of your vacation. You have become the pina colada and the fried chicken. Whereas we want you to become the healthy plant-powered bowl or salad. So I know that's a very simple way of explaining it. And that's what I do though. I hope that this is speaking to some of you. So 2 weeks of flooding your body with a rainbow of fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds, grains, and beans is all it really takes to feel healthier, happier, rested, focused, confident, energetic, and just really like you're thriving. It really does not take long. And I will tell you, I'm excited to share with you guys a little bit. We have a 2-week challenge that is all about this, that we're helping people with this month, if it's something you want to plug into. Again, we talked about inflammation being the root cause of a lot of different things. So I love this visual. It just kind of shows you that if we make our plate look like the rainbow and eat as many plants as possible, we're solving so many challenges for not just our own body, but also the health of our planet and the health of our community. And it extends so far beyond just kind of what's happening in your own little world. But I can promise you, if you have something specific, like you maybe are diabetic or you've been diagnosed with something, reach out to me and I will pull some of our specific resources on these topics from our database. We have information on anything basically from experts in that specific modality or in that specific realm that they can pour into you with extra research and and things to, food for thought about that. So reach out and I'll help you get plugged in if you need support for something specific. Okay. It's also never too late to change your story. So I want to encourage you, if you're sitting here going like, well, dang it, I've like really not treated my body well, or I haven't been doing this, it's never too late. I have seen people completely make a massive impact in their health in just a matter of a couple weeks, like we've been talking about, in the later part of their life, right? I love working with kids because I love influencing children at an age where they can be more in control of what they're eating and how they're taking care of their body to help their moms and dads, right? Instead of fighting them the whole
Mhm.
time. But I also love the idea that we're influencing generations on either side of that. So my own mother-in-law, she was able to actually she was getting very close to being full-blown diabetic with her numbers when she went in to check them about a year ago, probably 2 years ago. And she read the book of Reversing Diabetes, which talks a lot about these concepts of introducing more whole plant foods and how the fiber can make a big difference and more of a low fat, high fiber diet. And we're so proud of her because she has completely reversed her numbers. They're back to normal, and she's done it all
Amazing.
with food. Her doctor was pretty shocked. He was like, I've never seen anybody do this. I usually just put them on insulin and that's that. And that's how they live for the rest of their lives. But she completely reversed her numbers, and she's also a cancer survivor, and she's been hit with a lot of things in her life. But I'm so proud to say that she's thriving and she's done it with food. That's just one example of hundreds, if not thousands, I could tell you of what we've seen just in my short career of doing this so far. Well, I say short, I've been doing this for 15 years. I forget how I'm getting older. um, I have been doing this for 15 years actually. So that's, I feel like, exciting to me because I have seen so many people's lives changed in that time, and I'm looking forward to many more years of that.
Yeah.
The news isn't that fruits and vegetables are good for you. It's that they're so good for you, they could save your life, which is so funny that this was written in Time Magazine in 2003. And we're still talking about it, and we're still not really getting the message here in our country somehow. But we're working on that every single day. And so I think the idea, is plant-based. Can we eat more plants? It doesn't have to be perfect. The more perfect you are, the better you're going to feel. I'll tell you that right now, because that's my entire story is I inched my way closer and closer to this. And then I still can't believe how every time I add one new element to this, or I'm constantly trying to improve, how I'm eating, what I'm eating, I feel better. We know, that the more you eat, the better you're going to feel. And 100% plant-based diet is safe for families. I have to always include this because I get a lot of questions from moms. Like, we definitely want to move in this direction, but we're not sure if it's safe or even appropriate, right? So this is actually from the American Dietetics um, handbook, basically. You can see right here, it's a quote from American Academy of Dietetics. Well-planned vegetarian and vegan diets are safe and adequate at every stage of the life cycle, including pregnancy and lactation. Okay. And then another quote from the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine: a plant-based diet is a great choice at every stage of life, including pregnancy and breastfeeding. A healthful, well-planned plant-based diet provides all the nutrients you and your developing baby need. And I think the key word here is well-planned. If you see that that's in both of those quotes, if you've ever heard of somebody kind of poo-pooing a vegan diet or saying, oh, I felt awful on it, or whatever it is, typically when we dig deeper, we find that they were pretty much not eating a well-planned whole food plant-based diet. It
Right.
might have been a little more on the potato chip and plant-based ice cream kind of track, or just not enough variety, or not really utilizing really wonderful, healthy fat and protein sources, in addition to, of course, all the beautiful natural carbohydrates you're getting and eating. Like, you can't just ignore an entire food group when you're eating plant-based. So I have to say this because it's so important to me that we change the narrative on this, and we help empower moms, families, individuals, no matter where you are in your season of life, to encourage people. If this is the route they want to take, encourage them that, yeah, that I've heard that that's great. Instead of shutting them down or saying, oh, I heard that this happened to this person. We've got to change that narrative, for sure. Okay. And then I had to put these in because these are the two newest kind of buzzing, documentaries out there right now on Netflix. Highly recommend both of them. You Are What You Eat just came out this past week, and I watched it all in like less than 24 hours because I was so invested in the story. I never do that. I never watch TV at all. But Jake was like, what are you doing? I was like, I can't stop watching. But highly recommend watching this. It's very eye-opening, and it compares 22 twins, identical twins. One twin eats a healthy omnivore diet. keyword healthy, not a junky one, a healthy omnivore diet of meat, eggs, dairy, and plants. There's still plants in there. The other twin eats a completely whole food plant-based diet. And they study what happens for 8 weeks. And it's wildly informative and interesting. And they, of course, talk about more of the animal cruelty side of things and other things. So it is a little hard to watch, I would say, if you have younger children. I'm not letting my daughter watch that until she's much older. So just a little trigger warning on that. But it is really educational and very well done. And I highly recommend that one. I also am fascinated by the blue zones. And if you haven't looked into this yet, it's really, really incredible. Have you watched either of these yet, Diana?
I have not, but
Okay.
I'm pretty familiar with the blue zones and all of that.
Okay. You're gonna
I
love.
hadn't heard of the other one. So is the other one, it sounds like it was episodes. It's not just one documentary.
It's 4 documentary style episodes. I think they're each about
Okay.
an hour long. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a lot of
Mhm.
content.
Yeah, maybe, I mean, it felt like an hour. Maybe it was 45 minutes. I don't know. But I highly recommend that one. And the Blue
Okay.
Zone one is pretty interesting because, they're looking at the areas in our worlds where people live the longest and the healthiest. And they're figuring out what are they doing? Are there any specific things that match up? What is that? What does that look like? And plant-based eating is a theme for all of the communities. So there's, of course, a lot of other things. I won't spoil the documentary because it's really fun to kind of, as you're watching it, figure out like what's going to be the thing that is the linking factor. But spoiler alert, plant-based eating is connected to every single one. And we see that, when our goal is not just healthy in the short term, but actually that longevity piece, being a functioning, happy, healthy member of our family, of our society, contributing to our community, being able to be, mentally there and physically there is so important. My own grandmother is a great example of this. She's amazing. She just turned 80 years old and she still captains 2 tennis teams, does hit style workouts every day that are an hour long that I practically die in whenever I go take her class with her. She runs around with my children, which are her great grandchildren. We leave her with them to babysit, which is crazy. Like I told my friend the other day, I leave my 2-year-old with my 80-year-old grandmother. Like, what? But I do because she can go up and down stairs, she can carry them, she can pick them up, she can sit on the floor, she can stand, she can cook them meals, she does
Amazing.
everything. And I want to be like that. Right. We all
Mhm.
want to be like, we call her Super Grammy. We all want to be like Super Grammy. But she's adopted what we're teaching you guys today over the course of her, really the last almost 4 decades, because when my mom started learning about all this, her mom, my grandmother, was her first best client that listened to everything my mom said. So she has been doing this for a long time and we're seeing those results in our own family. I just had to throw this up here real fast because I get a lot of questions too about what about carbohydrates? What about protein? What about fats? I want you to kind of just take a pause on the macro conversation for a second and focus back in on micronutrients, because there's 1,000 arguments and 1,000 different ways that you can look at what macros you're putting in your body, and everyone has different goals and everyone has a different combination that works for them. My main points on this are: don't be scared of carbs. Healthy carbohydrates are imperative. It's our energy source. It's our fuel. You need them. So this whole carbophobic world that we've kind of somehow gotten to is not a good place to go. Micronutrients, though, are the foundation, the building blocks of any goal that you could possibly have. And if you're worried, am I going to get enough protein on a more plant-forward diet? The answer is you don't have to worry about this. Look at the gorilla, look at the giraffe, look at the elephant. Look at some of the strongest, biggest, largest, tallest animals in the world only eat plants. The only time we've seen somebody who's protein deficient with a plant-based diet is really someone who's on the potato chip diet, the junk food vegan, the junk food plant. If you're eating real whole foods, it's impossible to not get enough protein with plants. So stop stressing about that or using it as an excuse. It's not an excuse. And if you want to watch a documentary that covers that in detail, The Game Changers is really great. It covers bodybuilders who are vegan, high level athletes who are vegan, and it debunks a lot of those myths for you if you're struggling with that point still. Okay, so we know that there's so many things in plants, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, postbiotics, all those things that we've talked about already. And all of these things condition your cells and take you from a state of poor physiology to peak physiology. So the question is, how many do we need to eat every day? This number keeps going up in our country. It started at like 3, and now it's all the way up to 12 plus servings a day for athletes. We've actually taken athletes up to 20 servings a day, and we're still seeing their blood work improve, even though they're
Wow.
dropping out of the studies because they can't chew 20 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. So we don't know how much is too much. So it drives me crazy. This is my little moment when families say, you know, oh, we get plenty, we get enough, because we don't, that doesn't mean anything. We don't know what's enough. We know we need more. We have to every day strive for more, 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 because the quality of our food is decreasing. Our environment is toxic. We have more stress than we've ever had. We have all these outside factors coming in on us. So we have to get creative. How can we eat more? How can we get more variety every single day? So as we kind of, get to this last section here, we're really talking about how do we actually do this? What needs to happen, right? So I have 5 steps to fuel your busy family. And these are the things that I focus on. I'm going to blow through them pretty quickly here because a lot of this is in our app. And you can dig deeper into that if you wish. But this will be a little crash course, and I'm happy to pull specific things for any of you guys if you need it. The first is simple meal prep. How many of you use the HOPE method? I sure hope I eat healthy today, or I sure hope that my kids have a nice lunch packed for them, right, for school, or I sure hope that I make it to the grocery store. Like, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. We all know this, right? We have to make sure that we're eating, that we're planning ahead so that we can eat the food that we want to eat. And that looks like meal prep. And sometimes when I say meal prep, people roll their eyes and, kind of go hide in a corner because they're like, I just hate meal prepping, or I don't have time, or all this stuff. You don't have time to not meal prep, in my opinion. You
Mhm.
have to meal prep to be prepared, to save you time, to do other things. So what this looks like, we have, again, in our app, a course called I Need to Feed My Family More Plants. And it takes you through every single step of this, videos, me walking you through my thought process. We have refrigerator charts where you can actually plan out your weeks using this method. But this is what we do. We think of a super stew that we can make, something in a crock pot or a big pot on the stove. We think of a salad or a power bowl that we can stuff into mason jars. We think of a new supper recipe. We're in the South, so we're saying supper here, and they all start with S, so bear with me. Supper recipe that is a hit for your family, something you know is going to work, because there's nothing more annoying than you making something and your family not eating it. But I want to also encourage you to also pick one new recipe to
Mhm.
integrate. That will add more variety, more clarity, more, wonderful things that that your kids and family can start integrating into your normal routine. Smoothie bags or breakfast in jars. We always put together something like that, something like overnight oats or chia pudding or coconut yogurt parfaits, or something that can be easily accessed, or even just energy bites, right? Like little like breakfast cookies, something quick and easy. That's a good snack or a breakfast on the go. We make
Yeah.
sure we have smoothie ingredients, and then snacks in the pantry always, because if you're a mom, if you run out of
Mhm.
snacks, you have to leave wherever you are. And save the day supplies is probably the most important part of this. I'm talking about on Thursday night when you're out of all the food that you planned and made already, and you have nothing in your mind to cook. You've lost all thoughts of food that you know how to make. What are you going to pull from your pantry to
Mhm.
feed your family really quickly? And it could be your pantry, your freezer. A lot of this save the day supplies comes from leftovers that you've been able to freeze, right? But I also love things like the cauliflower gnocchi from Trader Joe's that you can pop in the air fryer for a few minutes and
Yeah.
then throw the vegan pesto on it. And it's like in 10 minutes, we've got a dinner that my kids love on the table. Again, using these steps, and no matter what age your family, your kids are, you can adapt how you prep serve based off the ages of your kids. So I think, some people might make the argument where, well, I have kids that eat all different things. How can we get creative so that, if you're making, let's say, tortilla soup and you're adding in, we have a veggie tortilla soup recipe in our app that's like black beans and pinto beans and zucchini and veggies and all this delicious stuff. Could we save some of that out and turn that into something that your picky eater will eat? So that
Yeah.
you're not making more things, but you're just using the same ingredients in different ways. So again, I have quick meal ideas for you. This is all in our app, and I'm happy to send some of this stuff with you. If you want to take a quick screenshot, you're welcome to do that too. There's that gnocchi that I talked about. One of my favorite
Mhm.
recipes in our app is our cheesy shell pasta. That is basically plant-based mac and cheese. And I love that it
Mm.
has things like roasted red peppers and pimento chilies and sun-dried tomatoes and nutritional yeast and cashews. The base is cashews, so it's creamy but it's got the healthy fats in there. And it's delicious. My picky eater, my 2-year-old, she devours this, and I'm so grateful because I know it's packed with nutrition, not just, some mix out of the box. And so the more creative we can get with, same familiar foods that your children are used to, but actually making them a plant-based variety packed version, the better. I love the salad in a jars because they're so pretty and so fun. And we do salad in a jar parties all the time where you can bring an ingredient and leave with salad prep for the week. Doesn't just have to be salad. If you are not a salad person, you could do like a Mediterranean quinoa bowl in a jar, or a burrito in a jar, or soup in a jar, or ramen. I mean, there's so many variations of this now, but the idea is more variety, but getting it in a form that you can actually open your fridge, dump out the jar into a bowl, and only have 3 dishes dirty: your fork, your big bowl you're eating out of, and the jar itself. That is
Yes.
life changing, right? I know
Wow.
Diane's like
Amazing.
nodding her head. It's life changing for a busy professional. It's life changing for a mom. It's life changing for honestly a busy student. Anyone who needs a quick lunch or a quick dinner, this can really be helpful. And I'm all about containers. I think if you have great containers, you're more motivated to put good food in the container. So love bento boxes, of course, because it provides opportunity for more variety. You
Mhm.
have to think, oh, what am I going to put in this little compartment? I have to pull something else
Yes.
out of the fridge. So we love getting creative with packing healthy lunches. You can see Leah, we've got the veggie sushi there. We send that with her a lot, little avocado rolls, figs, dried blueberries, rainbow carrots, lentil chips. We've got the, air fried tofu with the edamame, olives. My girls love olives. That's a little date bar rolled in chia seeds in the middle there. So lots of variety, lots of unique things that sometimes people don't think about. And we've got, again, a course on how to do this as well within our app if you're interested in that. I also think gardening is a big part of meal prepping. Like if you have fresh produce in your yard or on your patio, we use aeroponic gardening, tower gardens to grow our food. But I think you're way more likely to use the produce there, right? That's there for you. You have to eat it, otherwise it goes to waste. So part of this is teaching kids where their food comes from, but also taking control of that food supply. So really encourage you to think through as we approach kind of the end of winter, planning out what your garden is going to look like this year and how you can integrate. And if you're interested in learning more about urban gardening, that's something that we specialize in our community because we've used the tower gardens that are by Juice Plus. We've partnered with them for, our family has partnered with Juice Plus for over 20 years now, but we've been customers
Nice.
for almost 30. So this has been a no-brainer for us because it grows off the dirt, out of the ground, right? There's no soil. It uses water and a mineral blend that mimics the soil nutrition. But it's developed specifically for the health of the plant and also health for humans. So you're not getting the contamination that's sometimes found in soil, the leaching, the other things that can happen, the runoff, but you're getting, a really simple way to grow plants on your patio or indoors. We have the grow lights. You can use the really sleek, modern at-home version inside your kitchen. Some people have them in their garage. Some people just keep them on their patio like we do. And they're so beautiful and make a little waterfall sound. And
Mhm.
we're also using these in schools. So if you have any connections with educators or with schools that are looking for a gardening program, this is a fantastic way to get fresh food in the classroom. And we have a curriculum that goes along with this, as well as a number of resources for schools to actually get grants, to write grants for the Tower Gardens. So reach out to me and I'll help you learn more about that if your students classroom is looking for something like this. We're partnering with a lot of tech schools recently because it provides that tech element, but also the fresh component of gardening. And then the kids can learn how to cook as well with the plants that they're growing, which is so fun. I want to encourage you to upgrade your hydration station. So just more water, you guys. When you look in the toilet, it should be clear to star colored. If it's not, you're dehydrated and you need to drink more water. And of course, where you can, moving towards glass, moving away from plastic. I know that stainless steel even comes with its own concerns, but it's definitely a better choice than plastic. So it's all a continuum, and I think we can appreciate this as a crunchy community. It's like we have to we have to figure out what battles we're going to choose, right? And if you have little kids and you don't feel comfortable having them drink out of glass, like my 2-year-old throws everything practically that we put in her hand. So
Oh,
I'm not handing her a glass water bottle anytime soon, but stainless steel is a great option. Also a good water filter. We have a Berkey, but there's so many out there now that are great. And just all of you know this, again, preaching to the choir. Also just thinking through like, sports drinks, things like that. This is just a recipe that we have in our app for homemade Gatorade. It's more just a guideline. Like you could start with water with some fresh citrus, right, squeezed in there, and then adding a little bit of coconut water or a natural sweetener, agave, maple syrup, stevia, something like that, a little bit of salt, and you've got this delicious electrolyte replacement drink instead of just, toting Gatorade to the sports games or to your workout.
right.
Healthy snacking is key. Of course, the third point is snacking because my gosh, that's all we talk about, I feel like, in our house. So here's a list if you want to screenshot this of some of the things we're doing. Biggest thing on this is just to stick to whole foods, right? How can we get as many whole foods in our kids as possible, put them in containers, work through variety trays. We call these grazing trays, and we use the egg bite molds off Amazon where we can get all the different colors in and really get more variety into our bodies. The fourth one is smoothies. I think one of the best ways to
Mhm.
get variety is to get smoothies in your families early on in the day. And that really ensures, of course, key macronutrients, but micronutrients especially. So get creative with the color, with what you're doing. Don't just make the same boring smoothie all the time because your kids will get tired of it, and let them do it with you. Get them involved. I know Diana's girls are very involved in helping her with packing lunches, right? And all
Oh,
the
yeah.
things you guys do.
That is their job.
That's their job. I love that. So as soon as you feel like your kids are old enough to do that,
Yeah.
definitely have them get involved so that they can see how when you add avocado and spinach to a smoothie, but also add mango and coconut milk and pineapple. It tastes delicious. And they're not getting that spinach taste, but they're getting it in their body, and that's helping them. We don't want to just hide everything from kids. We don't want to just resort to deception, although I will tell you, deception is totally fine if you have a very picky eater and you're just desperate. Okay. I'd rather choose deception every day over them not getting the produce that they need. So, for example, Remy has no idea what we put in her smoothie because she would not eat it if she knew. Leah eats plants all day long off our tower garden, raw kale, basil, all the things. So she makes the smoothie for her little sister, basically. So every child's different. I think give yourself grace with that for sure. And then if you're trying to figure out what to put in your smoothie, as we've kind of in our country been inundated with the protein powder generation. And so we're really trying to help families move away from that and move to something that is more of a plant powder a functional food powder, which just means food on purpose. And that means that the actual ingredients that are going into a shake mix or a smoothie mix have a purpose and are powerful. This one in particular is called Complete by Juice Plus, and I've probably had this every day of my life since I was 5 years old, because my mom learned about it when I was 5, and it has broccoli sprouts, radish sprouts, alfalfa sprouts, quinoa, amaranth, pea protein. It's a base of that soybean, that water wash soybean that has been proven to be protective and an imperative part of a healthy diet, especially in Asian countries, through research like the China study and other things like that. Again, if you're still afraid of soy, let us help you release yourself of that fear. If you have an allergy, there is a soy-free version of this. But we encourage people to not use the soy-free version if they just think soy is not something they could consume, because soy is actually a really important part of the building blocks of your body, when you look at a more plant-based way to get protein and fiber and on extra nutrition. So we love this one. It also is creamy and delicious and mixes well with anything. It doesn't have that chalky, gritty taste to it. And it checks off all the boxes that I think all of us care about, like being non-GMO, being stricter than organic standards. So, testing by a third party testing, like NSF, all of those things check out. There's a cookbook that goes along with it. So if you like making pancakes, hot cocoa, for me, I love making, the cookie dough, out of it. I do like coconut oil and a little splash of almond milk, and it makes little delicious cookie dough that you can eat at night with a spoon while your children are asleep. That's what I do. You don't have to share with them, right? But there's so many ways to use it. So I always have our families have at least a couple pouches of this in their pantry, the chocolate, the vanilla, so that they can experiment with it and use it as many different ways as they can. It's also how I feel like I survived breastfeeding. I breastfed my oldest daughter for 2.5 years, and you feel depleted, right? As you're giving all of your nutrients to this baby, you have to replenish that. So I would always be sipping a complete shake, knowing that I'm getting all of the things I just shared with you, but also there's things like pumpkin, pomegranate, spirulina. There's mushroom powder in this, which is the only plant-based source of vitamin D. There's B12 in it. There's all these things that kind of complete that checklist of things that you would want in your body every day. So I was a big fan of that. And I always turn our smoothies into popsicles because kids love popsicles. So keep these on hand, keep the silicone popsicle molds on hand so that you can always do that and never waste smoothie, because that's so sad to pour out smoothie that your kids have not drank all of it. It's like heartbreaking. So pour it into a popsicle mold. You all know the feeling, right? That way you can reuse it later and you can make little rainbow pops as they kind of fill up. And then the last one is plant powders. We have been really excited about helping families learn the difference between a traditional multivitamin and actual functional plant powders. So I used this example where, if you look at an apple versus a multivitamin, the multivitamin is going to have 32 nutrients, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, whatever's in it, right? And they've been synthetically made, manufactured somewhere, who knows where most of the time, and put into a capsule in a form that our body doesn't recognize because it's not natural. They're guessing how much of this to put in, how much of this to put in. Whereas when you take a bite of an apple, you're getting over 10,000 different phytonutrients. Vitamin C is just one thing. It would take me 25 pages to show you what's in one apple. So, you're getting all of the enzymes, all of the minerals, all of the nutrients we've been talking about, the antioxidants, just in that one bite. And that's powerful. We're seeing that micro doses of a lot of different things are more powerful than super heavy doses of just one vitamin. So instead of flooding your body with emergency when you're feeling sick, which is synthetic vitamin C, try actually flooding your body with real whole food. So your body has the tools that it can pull from, but you don't overload your body on one thing. we're seeing studies now that have been stopped early because the group getting the placebo, the group getting the vitamin was actually dying before the group that was getting the placebo, and showing more signs of sickness. And we're seeing that it's that extra oxidative stress of having to flush out things that you can't absorb, and that are synthetic and potentially toxic in the body. So we're really passionate about this. I've also met a number of families who have kids who have overdosed on multivitamins, on kids' multivitamins, and have ended up in the hospital or worse situations. And nothing that you feed your family should have a warning label on it, right? A poison control warning label. We want to stick to the whole food. So a solution for this is to look in your pantry and ask some questions. Is what I'm feeding my family real food? Is my supplement or food support is what I like to say, cabinet? Is it conducive to vine ripened produce? Is it chemical free? Are we actually making sure the products that we're putting in our bodies are certified and strict by third-party testers, not just hoping that they're safe? Are the plant powders that you're using exposed to oxygen? A lot of these plant powders are just in little containers. And if they're just in a container where you open it up, close it, you scoop some out, they're oxidizing as soon as they're in that container until they get into your body. So they're losing that nutrition, and there's no way to know if they're actually effective. So we don't want you to waste your money on something that's just gonna not do anything, right? Also, is this clinically tested on humans? Is it proven bioavailable? Like, these are all the questions that we've asked as a family when looking at what we used to take, like Flintstone vitamins. Some of us grew up on that. So we've got to move in the direction of whole food plant powders. And of course, we have used the Juice Plus whole food plant powders for a long time, 28 years to be exact, as a family. They have the shakes, which I already told you about. They have the fruit, veggie, and berry plant powder capsules. And then they have a vegan omega blend that is really effective in helping people ditch the fish oil and actually save the environment and not have that fishy, gross taste, but actually get their omegas from a nice place. So this is the full spectrum. This is what we do every day. This is our functional plant food support that we get as a family. And I love to show this to people because once you understand the power of variety, you realize that you really can't get this in your kids every day, let alone eat it yourself. I mean, most of the time moms were like eating slobbery rice puffs off the floor. So to be able to swallow, 2 capsules of the red, 2 of the green, 2 of the purple, and 2 of the omega blend, and know that we're flooding our body with all of these things, and then be able to do it again the next day with no sweat off of our back. That's life-changing for a family. A lot of our moms actually open up the capsules and pour the powder into something their child is eating. If you're pregnant, they'll be getting it through you. If you're breastfeeding, they'll be getting it through you. But as soon as they're 6 months old, they can start doing that. We have a protocol that goes along with that with our pediatrician. And I love thinking about, the power of all these things. I look at this list and I go like, if I tried to buy all these things and prepare them in one day, I mean, it would be nightmarish, right? As a busy person. But we can try to do maybe 5, right? Maybe 10 on a really good day. And that's really awesome. But if we can support and fill in the gaps, this is not instead of eating real food by any means. It's not a crutch. It's a catalyst. And we see this all the time. People that get this in their body, they start craving healthier food. So the way it's made is it's harvested with vine ripened crops. It's frozen on site for transport. It's juiced at a really cold temperature, a low temperature, in an oxygen-free environment. They keep the fiber in though, so they're not messing around with that. They're keeping that whole food synergy, but they're just taking out the water, and produce is 90% water typically. So you can imagine how small the powders get after you dry them. And then the quality control comes in, making sure it's beyond organic, it's NSF certified. They blend it together, they encapsulate it, and they ship it directly to you to eat it. So it never sits on a shelf. It never deals with any kind of middleman or anything that could kind of add more time or more money to it. So it's really effective and simple to get to you and to get into your family. They do have gummies, which I love sharing with moms because usually we have like the X hands up when we talk about gummies. But these gummies are different. They're made from tapioca and they dissolve in water. So they're completely vegan. You put them in water, they'll dissolve in an hour. We did a little experiment where we did that at our house with that versus a traditional multivitamin for kids. And the multivitamin for kids like expanded like one of those gross
Oh
dinosaurs
gosh.
and stayed that way for like weeks without any mold. It had neon
Oh,
water by the end of it. Whereas the Juice Plus just dissolved and then eventually molded because it's real food after being left out for that amount of time. So either way you do it, whether you open up the capsules or use the gummies, whatever is going to work to get this in your kids every day is what we want you to do. And we have all this for you to learn more of how to introduce it, starting as soon as your baby starts solids. This is the same protocol we use with our pediatricians, and it's in our app, available for anyone for free in the Let's Just Be Mom Friends course on there. And then as I just think about how this has supported my family over the years, of course, for me, it was the thing that actually finally got rid of my eczema as a 5-year-old, got rid of my ear infections. I had chronic ear infections as a young girl with tubes put in my ears. Still nothing was working on constant antibiotics and then eczema, very bad eczema on my body that also wasn't improving despite the efforts of doctors. And within a couple months of being on Juice Plus, all of that went away and never came back. And it gave my mom this bigger understanding of the key to variety because we were eating almost plant-based. We were eating really healthy. We still were eating a little dairy, which again, we've learned more about that and how inflammatory that can be. So my mom wished we knew more at the time about certain other things we could have done to expedite that process. But the Juice Plus played a huge role in that, and those dehydrated plants every day. And then her allergies went away. My dad stopped getting every cold, sickness, flu from the hospital that he was doing surgery in. My brother actually started eating other foods than white foods that didn't touch each other. He asked for broccoli for the first time. My mom fell out of her chair in shock. When I met Jake, he ate 15 corn dogs a week, like I said. And I pretty much said, if you're going to date me, you're going to be on Juice Plus because I can't see you struggle like this. And clearly, you're not willing to change your diet. So within a few months of being on the capsules, he was able to get off his Prilosec meds that he had been on since he was 12, 2 different types of asthma inhalers, Accutane for acne, and all of his allergy medications as well. And he was amazed at the power of food. So it really taught him the power of food. And I think that's what it can help a lot of people with, is teaching them that power of food. For my girls, now I'm seeing the benefits of the fact that they are not experiencing anything that my childhood and my husband's childhood was ridden with. They
mhm.
are in, the clinic for wellness visits instead of sick visits. There's been no sign of any severe ear infections. There's been no sign of eczema or anything that I dealt with. And I'm so grateful for that. And I do attribute it to changing that generational health that we started out talking about tonight. So this is the plan that we follow every day. And this is our 2-week challenge for you guys. If you want to jump into it and just see how good you can feel this January, you just choose a Monday. So, and even if it's after January, when you listen to this, reach out and I'll still help you be able to follow this protocol. But it's just, you're doing the fruit, veggie, berry blend, plant powders every day, a superfood shake or smoothie mix using the complete, and then 5 diverse servings of whole plants every day. And you really just get to decide, do I do the capsules or the soft chews? Do I sponsor a child for free? We actually have the ability for you with your order to sponsor a child between 4 years old and 25 years old to get their Juice Plus for free as part of our Healthy Starts for Families program. So it doesn't have to be your own child. You could sponsor a child in need in your community, or a neighbor, or a niece or nephew, or a grandson, grandchild. So it's a really wonderful program that I can help you learn more about. For the smoothie, you just decide, do I want the complete or do I want a higher protein, more muscle building focused Perform shake mix that we also offer, and then how many servings you would need every day. And then we encourage you to make other healthy choices like we've been talking about. So the more you do, the better you'll feel. And we have a meal prep party that I think would be really helpful next step for you guys is to kind of put all this into action with shopping lists and recipes and all the things on there. We have a daily checklist calendar that's super cute that you can put on your fridge and check off the things until they become a habit, like they have been for our family for over 3 decades now. And then a kids eat the rainbow chart also comes with this challenge as well. So you have your kids put a sticker on the colors that they're eating and kind of track how are we doing with eating the rainbow every week. It's visually seeing, okay, we need to eat a little bit more purple things, a few more green things, and kind of round out that and encourage your kids to try more foods. If you want to learn about this program specifically, you can text the word more to that same number, 704-579-6429. And it should populate the Facebook group and the ways to get involved in that as well. So, and then as we close here, I can't ignore mental health. Mental health is so important. I don't have time to go through all this today, but just know that if you need support, we will be there for you. We'll help you find a practitioner or a therapist that can help you. But there are lots of things you can do, like reducing EMFs in your life, focusing on eliminating caffeine, your gut health, family dinners and conversations, checking for environmental factors like mold or the HLA-DR gene, things like that, that can also play a big role that we're learning about now. So don't ignore that. That's very important to start with that, even if that's the first place we need to start to help you. And movement matters. Exercise matters. What's the best kind of exercise? It's the kind you'll do. So I don't care what it is, move your body. I always have to say this whenever we talk about all these other things. Consistency compounds. So how you start your morning determines your day, how your day goes determines your week, and on and on and on, right? How your year goes determines your life. So the habits that you establish, I think this would be a good action plan to kind of implement this, is I want you to think about what are your non-negotiables and maybe take a moment and journal, what are the things I need to do every single day to make myself healthy and well and to feel my very best? Does it have to do more with contribution? Does it have to do more with what I'm eating, what I'm physically doing every day, if I'm getting outside and getting deep breaths of fresh air or sunshine? So I want you to make a list of what do I need to do every day? What's my plan for success? What habits do I need to check off every day? This is an example of what I do every day or strive to do, of course. There's certain days where it doesn't all happen, but the things that really matter, I'm able to do no matter what. I can take my Juice Plus on my worst day. I can take 10 deep breaths on my worst day. I can, try to get a shake in on my worst day, even if I can't make a full-blown smoothie or pancakes or something with that complete. What can you do on your worst day? Those are the things I want on this list to help keep yourself well. And then you might have a list of what you want to do once a week, like meal planning, self-care activities, connecting with a family member, and then maybe a list of avoiding. I always like to talk about abundance, but avoiding is critical as well to being honest with yourself. So thinking through that too. Okay. And this is my vision board for this year. I'm a big vision board believer. I've been making these for 10 years. So make a vision board on Canva. I have these worksheets. If you want to reach out, I'll happily share them with you that you can work through. But you're building out what you want out of this year and then actually turning that into habits. Like, what habit do I need to adopt to make this happen? And I will happily at some point, I just did a full-blown vision board workshop on this. So I can share the recording with you if you'd like to learn more about this whole process. But it's narrowing it down to the top 3 habits that will change your life the most, and then starting with the easiest so that you have a win. And if we can start there, we can make a big change in the new year. So in summary, you guys, eat more plants, plan ahead, establish daily habits, prioritize self-care. And I'm just so proud of you for taking the time to learn today and for, of course, Diana hosting. And if you forget everything I just said, eat the rainbow. If you just are like, what in the world just happened? Just, try to make your plate look like the rainbow, and you're going to win in so many ways, this year and beyond. Make sure you text New Year to this number, 704-579-6429, and that'll plug you into everything we talked about today. And again, I'm available in here and always plugging into the Think Crunchy events that are happening and around if you need extra support, or if you think of anyone in your life that I can support and help and serve, a community group, an event you have in mind that you want to see happen, I'm all ears. So thank you so much for being a part of this today. And thanks for having me, Diana.
That was also beautiful and so informative. And I was scribbling notes over here. And my biggest takeaway, so I had a lot of takeaways, and I'm excited that we're recording this so I can go back and watch it more slowly and properly. Well, the last thing that you were talking about with the Canva vision board is brilliant, because I remember the days of like collecting magazines and cutting things out and then cutting too much, or it was too big, and oh my gosh, Canva vision boards, brilliant. But what I find the most incredible about what you shared is that it's never too late, right? So it doesn't matter if you've been living this way your whole life, like you've been doing this your whole life, right? You kind of were born into this family that had these goals and these different things that they had already achieved and put into place, and you were taught to eat very well. And yes, it wasn't perfect, but incredibly well, right? And there are a lot of people, maybe your husband, for example, who didn't necessarily have that same experience, but it wasn't too late. And then hearing you talk about your grandmother, your daughter's great grandmother, in her 80s, and how she started in her 40s, and how she's thriving and can sit on the floor and babysit your children and do all of these incredible things, is really inspiring. So thank you for sharing that message, because I think moms especially have a ton of guilt about, maybe I messed up with the toddler years or infancy or pregnancy, and, I'm so late to the game because they're 5 or 10 or 20. It's not too late, right? Like it's never too late.
Never too late at all. And I do think you're right. Like if we can just think about those baby steps in the right direction, we can make big changes. Just win the day, win the day,
Yes,
or win the moment. It might not even be the whole day you can win. But win that moment, make the best decision you can for your family, and just continue to improve. And you guys are gonna rock 2024. And I'm here for you. All of my information is on the Think Crunchy website as well, so you can find all of our stuff there. And I love collaborating. I love connecting with other practitioners, other people. So I'd love to meet you and connect and see what we can do, all the goodness that we can do together.
absolutely. Thank you so much, Jenna. We appreciate you. Everybody knows how to find you. We'll find you on the website. We've got your social media, all of that stuff that, of course, we will also continue to share. And you also do a lot of collaborations with us. So you're highly featured on our page, which we love because you always share a lot of great content. So
Yes.
thank you for all of that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all the stuff you're doing for us. It's super fun. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for being here, guys. And Jenna, we appreciate you. Have a good night, y'all.